Good morning. Thank you for taking the time to join us for today's webinar and demonstration entitled Unified SASE Secures Modern Work. Leading today's discussion and demo is Ryan Young, Vandis's Chief Technology Officer. We are also joined today by Mike DeVita, Vandis's Principal Mobility Architect, who will conduct the demo. Last year, HPE acquired Axis Security to expand its edge-to-cloud security capabilities by offering a unified, secure access service edge solution to meet the increasing demand for integrated networking and security solutions delivered as a service. With the increase in hybrid work and remote users, and as enterprises migrate more of their applications to the cloud, HPE Aruba Networking Security Services Edge platform helps address the need for improved application performance and increased network security. For those of you who are new to Vandis, Vandis and Aruba have had a close working partnership for over 17 years. We are a platinum level partner with one of the largest Aruba certified engineering teams in the Northeast. Our team also sits on the Aruba Advisory Council. We are excited to share this solution with you today. We are recording today's session and will make it available later today. Please feel free to submit your questions at any time via the Q&A tab. We also have a polling question today that we hope you take part in. And lastly, a quick reminder to visit our website, vandis.com/events, for a list of other upcoming events that you might be interested in. And now I'll turn it over to Ryan and Mike.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Young. Thank you, Joanne. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of Aruba's SSE product, thought I'd first take a second just to review what SASE. Come on, computer. Next slide. There we go. What SASE is. There's a lot of terms that get thrown around the industry. So I just wanted to level set everyone on what we're talking about here. So SASE is broken apart into two areas, right? You have the networking side over here on the left, where you're really focusing on, the SD-WAN, the network connectivity, really making the most of multiple carriers versus having a single link that goes to a single backhaul out to the internet, as well as network as a service and leveraging CDN as an on-ramp into your global fabric or your local fabric versus long public internet IPsec tunnels. The right-hand side, we're really focusing on the end user experience, right? The secure web gateway for web access, network security, securing the traffic once it enters your environment. The client and security broker for outbound application traffic, the secure web gateway or cloud SWG. And then you have ZTNA, which is more and more like moving towards replacing VPN. So VPN's also in there, but what we're starting to see is really moving into ZTNA 2.0, which is a software-defined perimeter versus VPN, which is a network-based perimeter. God, I just looked this one up and I actually can't remember. Mike, what's the acronym? No, it's the API protection.
Yeah, web application and API protection.
Yep. Firewall as a service where you're using virtual or cloud-based firewalls. And then role-based, no, it's actually browser isolation and DNS, which is its obvious domain name service. So where do businesses plan to start their journey? So what we see a lot from our customers is there's two different conversations happening, right? There's the how do I handle my user protection, my remote users, my premise-based users, giving them a unified platform for application access, external applications, web filtering. So the SSE platform discussion has been driven a lot by the work from home initiative that came from COVID and that continues on today with the hybrid workforce. And then you have the remaining side, which is WAN edge services. And that's really companies that have been looking at how do we simplify and improve the connectivity between our branch sites and our data center. And I apologize, I'm a little froggy. I'm just getting my voice back. So sorry about the graveliness of my voice. But the WAN edge optimization, the SD-WAN, and how do you speed up your access to internet-based SaaS services? So let's we have a quick poll here. Just love to know where everyone stands in their SSE journey, so we can kind of cater the next portion of our presentation to the responses that we get. Joanne, you mind launching that poll?
Okay, I'm so sorry, I forgot that I muted myself. Where are you in your SASE journey is the poll. So please take a moment to answer it. We do see some responses coming in already, that some have started implementing their SASE journey. Some are starting with the SSE platform. Let's see if I can make this a little wider. And some are beginning with Zero Trust. And now I will move on. And the results are being shared.
Okay. So it looks like about half of you are looking to start the journey within the next 24 months. Some are 25% are in the process of already implementing, and there's another 25% that have started with Zero Trust and are going to move from there. So thank you for doing that. So let's talk about Aruba's SSE solution. Right, it's broken up into 4 modules. So top left, you have the ZTNA product, which is a true replacement of VPN. So it's not a network-based CTNA platform. It's software-defined, where you're accessing a web gateway. The web gateway is actually controlling the traffic requests inbound to protect your internal resources. They have the SWIG product, which is the secure web gateway, which is going to handle the policies from your branches and your users out to the internet. So it's URL filtering, DNS control, SSL, making sure that you're not connecting to the bad. I just did the classic click the button before I'm ready. All right, so then we have the CASB side, which is really controlling access to make sure that your users are only accessing your tenants, right? So say you're an Office 365 shop, you can do Office 365 tenant control so that you're only accessing Office 365. But inside that, you can also do controls around, say, OneDrive, saying that you're allowed to upload to OneDrive, but you're not allowed to download to OneDrive. So you can do some really granular policy controls around the SaaS-based products. And then I think the most important thing, as we're really looking at SASE on a whole in today's world, is that user experience. So what is the end user experience? There's a lot of SSE and SASE products out there that don't have that telemetry, and a lot of the traffic becomes a black box inside, where you might have to have other platforms to do that digital user experience monitoring. The Access product, and I apologize, we're going to keep flipping between names here. The graphics that we have in this presentation are called Access, but Aruba has recently rebranded it to be Aruba SSE to better match their portfolio. So Mike and I are going to jump a bit between Aruba SSE and Access. Just want to make sure there's no confusion there. So looking at how this platform really functions, right? So in this diagram, you're looking at 2 scenarios. You're looking at an end user, and you're also looking at a contractor that got a little hard hat. They're coming in from the internet and accessing the agentless portal. So Aruba SSE comes in 2 flavors, right? There's the agentless portal, which is a web front end. And there's also the agent version. So either way, they're coming on the internet. and they're connecting to the access cloud. And then internally within your environment, you have the Aruba SSE connector that's actually creating a tunnel up to the cloud to make that connection. And then from there, all of your requested internal resources are being proxied from the connector. So if you look at where you can reduce a lot of your costs, looking at an SSE or SASE platform, right? You're able to reduce significant costs from your VPN concentrator because you no longer have the need for VPN if you're using ZTNA. SSL inspection, that's another huge cost that is often being loaded into huge firewalls at the data center edge to make sure that it has the horsepower to do that inspection. And with products like Aruba SSE, that inspection is being done at the agent level so that you're able to offload that compute resource utilization to the endpoint. DDoS protection, if the resource isn't exposed to the internet, you don't need DDoS. And in this architecture, right, where there's no inbound policies on your firewalls to access your web applications or your internal resources, those are all behind you or behind the connector. There's no inbound policies, which Mike will show you in the demo. Using CASB and SWIG, you're able to do data loss prevention and URL filtering, as well as sandboxing through the CASB functionality of the box. Now, these slides are in here. I would say this is a little bit of a stretch, but certainly as you move towards the full SASE solution of introducing integrated SD-WAN and full SSE tied into your SD-WAN, then you can start to remove things like an internal firewall, right? Because you have policy controls at your branch sites within your data center that are in this same unified platform that you no longer have to account for your east-west traffic, right? All your traffic is bouncing into the Aruba SSE platform and then going to its resource after being inspected and protected. So we'll talk about the difference between ZTNA 1.0 and Aruba SSE. I'm not going to read all of these, but while you look over them, I will talk to you about the importance of starting small. So we have a lot of customers that right out of the gate want to do everything, want to hit all four of those pillars of SSE. And it's really important to recognize that just doing the SSE platform, you're able to really jumpstart your journey. So what we often recommend to our customers is start with ZTNA 2.0, that inbound VPN replacement, protecting your internal applications. And once you've made that transition, start to look at the other pieces of the network, right? Connecting your branch sites into SSE. Essentially I was going to say transmogrifying, but I'm not sure that's a word. Migrating your entire global WAN into the new architecture. And once you start to do that, then we can look at making changes like deploying SWIG, deploying CASB, and really starting to turn on all the features. But it's definitely a don't boil the ocean scenario. So let's take a look here at the access flow that Aruba SSE, again, I'm sorry for the confusion with access and access security cloud because it's now SSE, but let's look at that user flow, right? So here you have the connectors coming in through ZTNA, right? So step one, the user requests access. So they're going to hit that front end. They're immediately going to get redirected to whatever your identity provider is, whether it's Ping, Okta, Azure. Once that security challenge is complete, and we have your identity and we have your roles from your IDP, now we're going to do policy analysis, right? So we're going to look at what this user is allowed to access, whether it be web filtering, whether it be SaaS applications and ZTNA. So once that connection happens, you have the ZTNA, which can be bidirectional, and then you have Swig and Casby, where it's saying you're permitted to go out to Salesforce, Slack. You are allowed to go to YouTube, but you're not allowed to upload to YouTube. You're only allowed to watch YouTube, and it's constant. So one of the things that Mike will be able to show you in the demo is you can make on-the-fly changes, and just like that, it's pushed down to the end user. So, excuse me. So one of the things that we're going to show you in our demo is agentless access, visibility into the user traffic, the ease of policy management. I think that's really the big thing that I hope you take away from this demo today is having a centralized policy for all your applications, so you're not jumping around, and identifying what your users can access and what they can't is really, really important. So let's look at, I love this slide. So one of the things that Aruba SSE has is it has its backbone fabric built across all four clouds, I should say. And one of the things that the connector and the agent are doing along this whole process is analyzing latency, right? So there's always this four-leg fabric happening. And what the agent and the connector are doing is figuring out what the fastest control plane is for their traffic, and using encrypted tunneling to move the traffic across one of those four clouds. So you're always getting the fastest leg. It also gives you the resiliency and the redundancy so that in the event that one of the carriers goes down, your traffic is still able to carry over one of the other legs. It's essentially just saying exactly what I just said. All right. So, sorry, these animations, they kill me. All right, so the unified access portfolio is two-part, right? So we talked a lot about the SSE platform. One of the other things that is really nice is the very tight integration between Aruba's SD-WAN platform, Edge Connect, into the Aruba SSE platform. So from the orchestrator, you can really easily just configure a policy, configure some BIOS, business intent overlays, and deploy them. And the next thing you know, everything's tied in really nicely so that your secure service edge is able to do to extend those same policies that we've built for those remote users to your branch edge. Again, just consolidating everything into a unified management portal, or policy portal, I should say. So this is just demonstrating that, with leveraging SD-WAN, right, you're getting that high availability using your multiple internet circuits out to the clouds, out to access. And, while I've talked a lot about how you can do this with the Aruba Edge Connect platform, you can also use third parties. So we have 6 third parties there, but essentially if you can spin up a IPsec tunnel, you can connect your traffic into the SSE platform and route your traffic to leverage that best of breed technology that Aruba has acquired and enhanced. With that, I'm going to hand this over to Mike. Mike, you want to take them through the dashboards and demo?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for that information. So I'm going to share my screen here. Excuse me. All right. Ryan can see that, right? Sorry. Was that a yes?
Sorry, I was on mute. That's a yes.
All right, cool. So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. So what I'm showing you here now is kind of the landing dashboard from the admin GUI when you log into the platform. And what you can see from here is it kind of gives you like a high level overview of what's going on with the platform at this point. So keep in mind, this is a demo environment that's fresh. So the traffic we're seeing here right now is really just myself, Ryan, and some internal people testing this. So there's not a lot of data in here at the moment, but we'll start getting more as we let the participants of this session join. So I'm going to kind of walk through this a little bit, and then at the end, what we're going to give you is we're going to give you some login information, and you can actually experience this for yourself, which I think really does kind of demonstrate the ease and how the platform works. So on this dashboard here, what you're seeing is what users are accessing, what applications, and then also what regions of the world they're coming from. So in this case, all of our testers are local to our office. So right now, we're all coming from the United States, which is also something you can control or restrict within your policy. So that's one of the criteria you can use in your rules. And just a couple of things I want to highlight here, which is pretty interesting, because as Ryan kind of demonstrated and explained, the connector is brokering that connection to that backend resource within your environment. So, for example, if we look at this SSH server that I've set up as a demo, you can see actually what commands the person is actually executing. So you actually get some auditing as well as to what that person might be doing on that system if you wanted to kind of backtrack and see what had happened. So in this case, you could see I just ran some simple commands, pwd, who am I, outputted a file. But this would also, if they were changing permissions or deleting files or whatever, you would actually get that logging within here as well. So I'll jump back to the dashboard. And that's true for any of these applications. So right now, what we have in this demo is we have an SSH server, an RDP server, and a simple web server, and then an internet resource, which is actually our website. So I'll show that in a minute. But what I want to kind of highlight here first is those connectors. And as Ryan said, what you do is to provide access to backend resources, you deploy a connector, which is effectively a small Linux system. It can be either Aruba provides an OVA that you can load into your own virtual infrastructure if you want to do it that way. In this case, I'm actually using a vanilla Ubuntu machine that I've installed the software on, and it's a script. So when you deploy a new connector, it's as simple as giving it a name. You tell it what zone you want it to be a part of. So there, and then when you go next, it's going to give you a curl statement that downloads the installation script and executes that. So I'm actually going to commit that. I'm just going to delete that guy so we don't have some mess in here. But that's as easy as it is to install a connector. In this demo environment, we're actually only using a single connector because we're not concerned at this point about redundancy. But typically, if you were going to deploy this in a production environment, you'd want to deploy multiple connectors and place them in the same zone. And what that does is it load balances and balances your traffic across those connectors within that zone. So having multiple connectors in a single zone does two things for you. It actually provides redundancy, but also that's how you scale out capacity, right? So if you had a large number of users, you could use those connectors to expand your footprint. And that's how you do that here, right? So again, I'll show really quick. We've got our default connector zone here, and this is our connector that's in that zone. You could also define what they call a failover zone. So if you had, for argument's sake, an East Coast and a West Coast data center, you can define certain applications if they exist in the East Coast in the East Coast connector zone, but then fail over to the West Coast connector zone if the connectors in that zone are unavailable. And then tunnels here is really just what Ryan was saying about integrating this with a SD-WAN solution. You can create tunnels from those SD-WAN appliances into the Access Cloud and provide the same enforcement that you would be providing to your client-based users, but they wouldn't need that client. It would do that kind of automatically for you. And with the Aruba Edge Connect platform, a lot of that is managed and automated through the Aruba orchestrator, which kind of handles the management and configuration of that cloud. All right. So stepping here real quick, I'm gonna expand a little bit because it timed down on me. So when you look here, this is one of the things that we are, when we're filtering traffic. So Ryan was talking about that SWIG functionality. This is, I have an agent on my system, and as I'm browsing, it's checking, the sites and services I'm using. And you can see, I'll show you the rule set in a second, but very simply, I'm blocking gambling sites. So, you can see me being blocked from gambling and FanDuel, or the two test sites I use. And then there's also a CASB rule that is blocking stuff to Facebook. All right, so let's step a little bit in. Before we go into policy, what I want to kind of show quickly is, next you define your destinations. So what resources do you want people to access, or your users to access? And again, as you can probably see from the interface, very, very simple to set up and configure. So in this environment, what we've got is we've got a couple of applications defined, and they're RDP, SSH, and a website. And what you can see that I've done here is we have two different classes of users here, right? So I have the demo user, which is what we'll be giving the participants a login for. And we also have a admin user. So I actually use this platform to set up the test systems for this demo specifically. All of these systems are in a self-contained VNet in Azure. So there's no inbound access, no inbound rules whatsoever. Everything is being brokered through that connector. So as Ryan was kind of explaining, the user connects to the cloud, the connector connects to the cloud, and it's brokering that connection to complete the communication flow between the client and the backend resource. And one thing I want to point out with each of these applications is, which seems simple on its surface, but is actually super powerful, is application tags. So application tags are a great way to bucket your applications or resources into categories, because you can use these tags in your rule set so that you don't have to create a new rule per se for every application you define for each user. If I say, look, these are my admin applications, as long as I tag that with admin application, my rule specifies that admin users can access the admin applications. So real quick, I'll just kind of walk through setting up a new application. So you define a new application. One of the things that I think with the Access platform, or the Aruba SSE platform, I should say, that is super powerful is is a real differentiator for them, is the agentless access. So you can kind of see here, these are web applications, RDP, SSH, Git, database, and VNC are the 6 different agentless applications that they offer. These, if you publish them, will be available to users through a web front interface, a web front end, and don't require any installation or any software on the end user side. So for example, if we wanted to define an SSH server, you would give it a name, what server it would be connecting to. So you can make up an IP address, or you could use fully qualified names, what connector zone it's being accessed through. And that's super important. And it sounds, again, simple on its surface, but is a great way to provide access to disjointed resources. The only real requirement is that the connector itself has to have IP reachability to that backend resource. So say, for argument's sake, you were acquiring a new company or a new organization, standing up a new office that didn't yet have connectivity back to the main office, or, like I said, in a merger acquisition type scenario, you could theoretically deploy a connector to that new location, set it up in a new connector zone, and you could provide access to the resources at that location without having to connect it to your main WAN. So it's super powerful the way you could do that. So in this case, it's going to go through the demo zone. You can either provide credentials in the configuration. So again, if you were in that contractor scenario, you don't have to provide that contractor with those credentials to that system. So say you had a vendor that was helping with something, you contracted Vandis to help you with something. You wanted them to connect into a server and look at something, but you didn't want to change the password or provide us with the login. You could provide us with access to that resource, and in here configure the username and password so that when we connect to that resource, it'll just log us right through without us knowing what those creds are. Or you could have the user enter those creds. What IDP are you going to use? So again, in this situation, in this test environment, we're using the built-in access IDP, which is really just a user database. But the system does integrate with pretty much any SAML or single sign-on system where Azure AD or Intra AD now, or Intra ID, right? Okta, Ping, you kind of name it, and you could pull your users from there. And then same thing, here your application tags, and you could tag it with an existing tag, or you could make a new one if you wanted to do that. So I'm going to cancel out of this because I don't want to create that. Okay, I deleted that, so I'm just going to apply that. One thing to be very cognizant of if you're ever working in the platform is make sure you apply your changes. If you see the little purple at the top, that means you have pending changes. If you don't push those, you won't see them show up. So here are your applications, and then we'll look at the rules here. So as Ryan was saying, the power of having a single pane of glass for all of your rules in one place is super powerful. So you can see here, I have a very simple rule set, again, demo environment to demonstrate the platform. But here you could see I have a CASB rule that's going to block access to Facebook, to a couple different functions to Facebook, and posting and downloads maybe. I forgot exactly how I defined it. My SWIG rule, so this is my secure web gateway rule that's blocking access to gambling and malware sites, which I showed you before. You actually saw those blocks happening. Here are my admin applications. So as I said, instead of actually defining each application in the rule, I'm defining them by tag. So any new application that I define as an admin app would automatically show up for me as an admin user in my portal. And in this case, what I'm doing is I'm geo-restricting access to those admin applications to only users coming from the United States. I don't want people from other countries. All of our admins are local. So there's no reason to allow any other access there. And then this is the rule that actually will provide access to the members of this demonstration. So there's two users. I have a client user and a demo user, and anything tagged demo application is going to be allowed access. And then these are just default rules here. So let me log you into the portal really quick just to kind of see how simple this is. So and we'll give you this password in a couple minutes so you could try this out for yourself. But I don't want to confuse the system. Not confuse it, sorry. I don't want people jumping in while I'm in it to show you what's happening here. Session timed out. All right, so I just logged in, and kind of nice and easy. You can brand the page with your own color scheme, icon, logo, etc. So if you see here, we've got our logo and kind of our blue color from our logo here. I actually took that guy there, and like as we can see, so I've got my RDP, my SSH, my demo website, and a demo web application. So I'll just kind of click through these quickly just to kind of show you how they work. But here's our demo website. So this is a website sitting on a Linux box in that Azure VNet that we set up. Again, simple website, but as you can see, there's no connection directly to that resource. What they're doing is brokering that connection through the Access Cloud and then providing access to that backend resource through that connector. This is our website. So what you could even do, this is a public resource. This is the same website you would see if you went to vandis.com, but we're actually providing access to this through the Access Cloud. So as you can see, what it's doing is it's rewriting all of the content on this page so that it's coming through the Access Cloud instead of being directly accessed by the end user. And now here's where it really gets fun, I think. So here's our SSH server. One of the things that's great about the clientless piece is you have the ability to either access that resource through your browser. So this is a an interactive web session through your browser that I'm on right now through here. The other thing you have the ability to do is use your own tools if you feel like it, right? So if I'm a secure CRT user, you probably see it in the background. You can actually right here. Copy that, and we're logging in here. So that auto login username is a unique token that is specific to my user, expires, can't be reused, etc. So, and as you can see, I'm on the same session or on the same system, but I'm using my own tool. So if you like secure CRT, PuTTY, a Windows command line, Mac terminal, you can use whatever tool you want to get access to that same resource. So I'm going to log out of that guy, just so we don't keep him logged in. Put out of there. And we're going to close this guy down as well. All right. And then the same thing for RDP. So I'll jump into my RDP session here. You will have access during the demo to access the RDP session, but I will just kind of mention that this is a standard Windows 10 desktop. So it's a single user at a time. If you log in and someone else is already logged in, it's going to kind of steal the session from them, but you can kind of see how that works when you do that. And then what I'll do is, while this is loading, I'm going to bring back up the web portal for you. And then same idea, I won't connect again, but if you want, you can download an RDP file and then use the native RDP client on your system to connect to that system if you prefer not to use the web interface. All right. So one thing I want to show here is how the access is like Ryan was saying, is continuously evaluated, right? So if I log out of this system here and go back to my portal, I'm going to sign out. So I'm back at the portal here. So if I go back to my rule set and I say, you know what, I don't want my demo users accessing the SSH server anymore, for argument's sake, right? I could just flip that guy off, publish that change, and what we should see in a couple of seconds, it's usually 5 or so, that SSH server will disappear, and I will no longer have access to that resource. So it's, like I said, very powerful how quickly you can provide access, and also how quickly you could spin things up. So in the same notion, right, I'm going to define a new application. Let's go and actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do this. Access connector. So this is actually my connector. 10.0.4, I believe it was. Use predefined creds. So I'm going to actually publish the creds in here. You know what? Let's not do that one. All right, so access IDP, we're going to use our IDP here, and we're going to tag this with demo applications. So same idea, I'm going to publish this here, and within a couple of seconds, I'll have a new application that'll show up. And that's how simple it is. And like I said, because we're using tags here, I don't need to define any new rules because my rule is already saying. I'm going to delete that so that we don't see that there. My rule is already defined that demo users have access to any applications that are tagged with the demo application. So really quick, let's go through. So I just want to highlight this really quick. So we spoke about the ZTNA piece of the platform, the SWIG portion, which is the web, basically web filtering. So again, I'll show you quickly here in the destinations category section. These are all your predefined, kind of standard web categories, right? Shopping, reference, real estate. Here's your, fishing, pornography, adult. And what you can do is you can look up a site. So for example, my test before was FanDuel, right? If that's in the gambling category. So if you wanted to do that, provide access or deny access to that, you could do that to that site there. What's pretty powerful, which depending on the platform, I've seen different ways of handling this. You can also include or exclude very easily categories from these categories, websites from these categories if you want. So, if you decided, so in my previous life, I worked for a pharmaceutical company. So you could imagine that a lot of our employees had to do research on drugs. So we had an issue a lot with certain web filtering platforms that there's a big difference in the pharmaceutical industry between legal drugs and illegal drugs. So there were sites that we needed our staff to access that fell in the drugs category, but was part of their job function. So, we could very easily, in this case, add or remove specific sites from those categories. Or you could define your own completely new category. So if you, wanted to create loud company sites or something, and you could add, specific URLs to there. And then all these categories are available in your policy set, right? So here's that gambling and that malware site category that I did there. So that's the SWIG piece. The CASB piece is your SaaS application. So as you can see, I said I think it was posting and upload that I blocked through here. But you can define, there's a whole list of applications. I'll just type Microsoft, right? So 365, Azure AD, as you can imagine, there's a wide array of available applications for you to choose from. And that's the CASB piece. And then the last piece of the platform is the digital experience monitoring, which, again, don't have a lot of data here, but I'll show you really quick and this is super powerful in that it can point you to slowness or latency if it exists within the platform and where that might reside. So, for example, you could see here through my client that I was testing before, I accessed that SSH server, and you can see I went from my host to Ashburn, Virginia, from Ashburn, Virginia to my Access Connector zone, which actually sits in Azure East, and then access that backend resource. So it kind of breaks down the connection between the client and the POP, their local POP, the local POP and the connector zone, and then the connector zone and the destination. So, it's a quick anecdote. We were setting this up with a customer, and they were kind of complaining about one of their applications being slow. And it was a simple fix, but it turned out that all the latency resided between the connector zone and the destination. And what happened was they were an organization that had that East Coast, West Coast type setup. And the application was sitting in the East Coast, but they had defined the connector zone that application should be accessed through in the West Coast. So they had an East Coast user going to the West Coast to come back to the East Coast to access the application. So it just showed where that latency resided. So simple fix of just moving what connector zone that application was being accessed through was the fix in that scenario. But you can kind of see how powerful that is. So what I'm going to do here, actually, because we want to give you guys time to get into this, I'm going to bring up a slide now. I have it here. Go back in presentation mode. There you go. So this slide here there's a QR code. So if you've got a phone, this is a mobile accessible website. You can access pretty much anything through there. The SSH one on a phone is a little weird, but you can certainly try it. Here's the QR code. The user is Vandis demo user, all one word, and then the password is Vandis capital V SASE 123 capital A capital S capital A capital S capital E, and then if you need it, the URL is there. And I don't know, Ryan or Joanne, if you don't mind, maybe pasting that in the chat, because I'm showing the presentation at the moment.
Okay. In the meantime, why don't we also try to cover a couple of questions?
Sure.
Can you tell us if you can log to a SIM?
Yes. So here, let me get out of presentation mode. So there is a log streaming option here. So what you would do is you would define your syslog destination through one of those connectors. So actually what you would typically do is deploy a connector for log streaming, because it would be in that log streaming zone. But yes, you can log to a syslog server or SIM. They also have an integration with Splunk.
Okay. And what firewall policies are required for the connector?
Outbound 443 is pretty much it. Because the connector is making an outbound connection to the Access Cloud, there is no inbound rule requirement whatsoever. Like I said, this environment, this demo environment that you're looking at now, is in a isolated Azure VNet with no inbound policy. The Linux box and Windows machine you're connecting to have no public IP assigned to them at all. So everything is being accessed through the dashboard there.
All right. And also, does it support MFA?
Yes. So the kind of beauty of it, right, is in this environment, what we're doing right here is, because we're trying to keep this simple, is we're using that access IDP. However, you can define your own identity provider. So they kind of have some wizards to help you out to make it a little easier for you. But pretty much generic SAML if your IDP is not listed here. But what would happen is, if you were, for argument's sake, using Azure AD, it would use whatever your conditional access rules are through your organization. It's linking you through to that login process. So you would kind of automatically inherit whatever your MFA rules are for your organization. There's no additional, requirement or settings that you would need to do at that point. I don't know, Brian, if you want to add anything there, so you're nodding your head.
I was just agreeing. So the important thing here is that, and that's actually a really common question that comes up with our customers that we talk to about this platform, is the MFA is being provided by your IDP. So it's not another platform that you have to do MFA. We're tying into your enterprise MFA. And actually, if we were using a different IDP other than the native on-box IDP, you wouldn't go to the login screen for access. You'd actually get redirected to your company branded IDP front end. You go through that challenge, and then once authenticated, you would go back to access. So you're not actually, when you're going through the authentication piece, when you're set up for a production deployment, you're not hitting the front end of access until you've been authenticated by your enterprise IDP. So we're open for Q&A for another couple minutes while everyone kind of tests out the demo. If anyone has any questions, Mike, maybe you want to put the user and pass back up on the site just in case.
Sure.
Joseph, I'm actually trying to unmute you so you can ask your question live. Let me see if it's.
Do you hear me right now?
Yes, we do.
Now,
Yes.
yes.
Do you guys only work with the Aruba network devices or on all like the other network as well?
So we do work with other platforms other than Aruba. I think that was your question.
Yes, so I saw you say Aruba networking on, so I thought is you guys only working with the Aruba networking, so is others, you working with other Cisco, Palo Alto, or other network as well, devices as
Yep.
well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this presentation is focused specifically on the Aruba product set, but yes, Vandis works with a whole host of networking providers, Cisco, Arista, Juniper, which is going to be Aruba HPE. I'm pretty much,
Palo Fortinet.
yeah, Palo,
Yeah, I missed
Checkpoint,
I had another
Zscaler.
meeting. I had another meeting. I just clearly missed the introduction. So if you can just summarize the introduction, what is you did, then I just it makes sense the things I watch out later on.
Yeah, absolutely. So Vandis is a service integrator and value-added reseller, and we focus on network security, cloud, hybrid connectivity. In this presentation today, we're talking about the value of SASE and helping our customers begin the journey of deploying SSE, SD-WAN, SWIG, CASB, and really today's demo was really talking about the ease of functionality and kind of jump-starting your SSE deployment, leveraging the Aruba SSE platform. One of the things that a lot of our customers are coming to us about right now is specifically, it's really interesting. It's been about contractor access, how to limit the threat landscape of contractor access. And one of the things that this platform does very well in this agentless web setup is gives you a secure way to do contractor access without opening up your environment from a east-west lateral movement standpoint.
So we don't need any install any agent on our like the staff devices when we say agentness.
So yeah, you don't need so if you go through this demo that's on the screen, Joseph, you'll see that we're able to do an agentless web front end that's actually acting as a proxy to the backend traffic. You can deploy an agent for maybe your work from home users. You can deploy the agent and do the CASB deployment and the SWIG enforcement, but the demo we're doing today is showing you how you can actually remove VPN from the equation and go into a more modern approach of protecting that front end with browser isolation. But one of the things that we didn't show in this is, so we took everyone to the portal, but if you're in the portal and you notice the below each application, you see demo RDP server and the IP address. That's because we don't have DNS running in there, but that could be an FQDN. But to the right, you see copy link. Those are actual links that if one of your, if you had that bookmarked, instead of going through the portal, that would take you straight to that application or straight to that backend web thing after you've gone through your enterprise IDP authentication and authorization. And once that process is complete, then you'll have role-based access to the backend infrastructure or the CASB applications or the secure web gateway.
Okay, thank you. So also, there's not something. It's not something that helps out the site to site the VPN, something with stuff. All right, do you guys have anything that kind of service as well? Site to site VPN.
So certainly there's the Aruba Edge Connect platform, or any portfolio you have around SD-WAN. We're really trying to help our customers transition to a more of an SD-WAN focus than just static tunneling with IPsec. I mean, obviously, there's still some firewalls, some applications that require that, so it's never really going to go away. It's always going to be, the under cloud to SD-WAN for the most part. But in this platform, it does support tunneling. Mike, maybe you can drop off the screen and go to the tunneling section for 1 second.
Sure. So,
but
I mean, that's kind of defined as a connector, right? So your tunnels here, this is how you would get your traffic from a branch or from an office to the access cloud without having to have, agents or anything like that on your systems.
And what this does is that actually helps you leverage the back end architecture of the Aruba SSE product to ride that backbone, that multi-cloud backbone that they've architected.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And what's nice is if you're using the Edge Connect platform to orchestrate all this for you, it's creating those tunnels to the access cloud using best path analysis, right? So it's giving you to your closest, fastest pop without having you to have to decide, I'm in New York and I'm next to Jersey and here's the next pop. It does all that for you. You don't have to worry about any of that.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for the question, Joseph. That was helpful. So we have about a minute left in the demo. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Mike, I think we got one last slide, which is to say thank you all very much. We really appreciate you spending the last hour with us. We hope you found it informative. We certainly enjoyed being here. And if you'd like to learn anything more about the platform or talk to us about networking and security in general, please feel free to reach out to either Joanne at info@vandis.com. If you don't have an account manager, or if you have an account manager, please feel free to reach out to your account manager, and we'll happily talk to you about this product or anything else. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. That concludes the webinar for today.